Billy Bones is, I guess you'd call him a vampire's assistant. He was a vampire, all right. So yeah, he has to melt Raiders of the Lost Ark style at some point. And the way it starts is he gets shot right between the eyes. And I had always wanted to do an effect in a film where, for some reason, whether it be reasonable or not, I put a sclera lens in one eye that makes one eye look in another direction. And Brad Pitt stole it from me on 12 Monkeys. I mean, he did it to great advantage. You know, hats off. He did great, great. But the point is, I did it first. The way the effect sequence starts is he gets shot between the eyes, and we cut away and we cut back, and he's got this lens going. Bloop. So one is his real eye, and the other one's over here, as though, and I find this really creepy, the connection in his brain to his eye, his optic nerve, has been snapped, and it's like, boom, and it just creeped me out. And then we went with a series of meltable heads, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. But the way that it started is we started with a shot of the real guy, and we were using the Richard Edlund Boss Film magic, shooting against blue screen. So I wanted, you know, of course, when people transform, at least in the 80s, they always look at their hands transforming. They're like, look, I'm transforming. Well, look what's happening. so Billy Bones gets his eye snapped over and he's shot, and he pulls up one hand and it starts to melt. And what we did with that was really, really interesting. I remember thinking to myself, okay, how should this hand transformation start? And I was looking at my own hand thinking, look at the bones, look at the life, look at the rush of blood, look at the magic there. And then it dawned on me that if you took a palm, you took a life cast of someone's palm, and then you sculpted the front of a hand on it, and you applied the front of the hand, a prosthetic that looked like the front of a hand, the opposite hand, guess what would happen? You could do like this, and it would look like your fingers were melting backwards. You put a couple of pus tubes in there, you're in business. I mean, that's a crazy effect, and it's basically free. Are you kidding me? It wasn't really free. It cost a few $1,000. But so that's how it starts. We do this. We did an appliance on his palm that made it look like the back of his hand, and we had a younger girl stand in front of the blue screen. Of course, we shot Billy separately. We shot 3 different elements, and then, of course, because one hand's never enough in the 80s, he's got to look at his other hand, and then when the other hand, so I didn't want to repeat myself, so when his other hand melts and distorts, we made a false hand for that. We made, we put the veins in and the muscles, and we did somewhat similar to the transformation effect for Evil Ed, but we did it in real time. We didn't reverse the film. We did actually melt it. It's made of gelatin. There are different blooms to gelatin, some more rigid than others, so you try to get the most meltable mix. You do a few experiments, but then you put as much heat as you can, and then you shoot at a very, very reduced speed. And I believe we shot the melting effects for both Billy Bones and the reverse claw effect for the Evil Ed transformation, probably close to 8 or 9 frames a second, which is about 1/3 speed. We just melted it and stretched it and pulled all the stuff. But the fun thing about that was, and the magic of Boss Film was, we could have a really cool makeup on the Billy Bones actor. We could have a backward appliance on this hand. We could have a melting appliance on this hand. And then we could cut away to reaction. Then we cut back, and we've now got a dummy head, an animatronic head of Billy melting while these 3 things are happening. Now, let me tell you something. To get all of that stuff happening in concert, had you not shot them as 3 elements, never, ever, ever, ever. But we could say, okay, we're going to shoot one hand, we're going to shoot the other, we're going to shoot the head. And that's how it all worked. And that was just so cool because it were 3 elements in a background plate composited together. And we could concentrate on each effect and make it look as though it's all happening at once. And that was really cool.